In Part 1, we explored 5 countries where American citizens may face entry restrictions or serious warnings against traveling. But that was only half of the list. In Part 2, we will visit the 5 remaining countries. Some are dealing with civil war, terrorism, and armed groups. Others have unpredictable legal systems, a high risk of kidnapping, or extremely limited consular assistance for Americans. Join J30 World Discovery as we continue with Part 2 of this list. Number 5. Venezuela. Venezuela is home to some of the most impressive natural scenery in South America. The country has a Caribbean coastline, vast plains, Amazon rainforest, and Angel Falls, the world's tallest uninterrupted waterfall with a height of approximately 3,212 feet. Looking at these incredible landscapes, it is difficult to believe that Venezuela was once one of the wealthiest countries in the region before falling into a prolonged economic and political crisis. Venezuela possesses enormous oil reserves. For decades, this natural resource generated substantial revenue for the country. However, excessive dependence on oil, poor economic management, corruption, sanctions, and political conflict all contributed to a severe economic decline. Inflation soared, essential goods became increasingly difficult to find, and millions of Venezuelans left the country in search of a more stable life. For Americans, Venezuela does not impose a complete entry ban. However, the U.S. State Department currently places Venezuela at Level 3. Reconsider travel due to crime, kidnapping, terrorism, inadequate healthcare, and natural disasters. Certain areas remain at Level 4, do not travel. This is a notable change from the more severe nationwide warnings issued in previous years. Some U.S. Embassy operations in Caracas also resumed to a limited extent in 2026. However, that does not mean all the risks have disappeared. Violent crime, armed robbery, kidnapping, and shortages of medical services remain serious concerns. Some border regions, especially those near Colombia, may contain armed groups, smuggling networks, and organized criminal activity. Beyond the dangers on the streets, American citizens must also consider the political risks. Relations between Washington and Caracas have been strained for years. In the past, several American citizens were arrested or detained on accusations involving espionage, political conspiracies, or anti-government activities. In a legal system heavily influenced by politics, judicial proceedings may not unfold in the way an American would expect. Personally, I find Venezuela the most difficult country to evaluate in Part 2. On one hand, it has landscapes that almost any nature lover would want to see in person. On the other hand, travel is not simply about reaching a beautiful destination. You still have to pass through airports, travel on roads, stay in hotels, and move through areas where the security situation can change very quickly. A traveler may visit Venezuela and complete the entire trip without experiencing a serious problem. But that does not eliminate the risks of robbery, kidnapping, power outages, medicine shortages, or becoming trapped in a sudden protest. Venezuela is no longer under a nationwide "do not travel" advisory, but it is still not a destination an American should choose without careful preparation. Sometimes "you can go" and "you should go" are two completely different things. Number 4. Myanmar. Myanmar, also known as Burma, is one of the most beautiful and mysterious countries in Southeast Asia. It is famous for the thousands of temples in Bagan, the peaceful waters of Inle Lake, its ancient cities, and the golden Shwedagon Pagoda in Yangon. For many years, Myanmar was viewed as a destination that was gradually opening up to the rest of the world. But everything changed dramatically after the military coup on February 1st, 2021. Myanmar's military seized control of the government, arrested numerous civilian leaders, and brought an already fragile political transition to an end. Large protests quickly spread across the country. The military's violent response pushed Myanmar into an escalating cycle of conflict. Armed resistance groups emerged, while ethnic organizations continued fighting in regions that had already been unstable for years. The U.S. State Department currently places Myanmar at Level 4, do not travel because of civil unrest, armed conflict, crime, the risk of arbitrary detention, and limited healthcare services. Foreign nationals, especially journalists, aid workers, and people suspected of supporting the pro-democracy movement, may be closely monitored. Even activities that appear completely ordinary can cause trouble. Photographing security forces, protests, military installations, checkpoints, or damaged areas could lead to a traveler being questioned or arrested. Internet and telecommunication services are sometimes restricted. Roads may be closed without warning, and domestic flights can be disrupted because of security conditions. The danger is not limited to the major cities. In many rural areas, fighting between the military, resistance groups, and ethnic armed organizations can erupt suddenly. Landmines and unexploded weapons also remain a threat in regions where fighting has taken place. Another major concern is the limited ability of the U.S. government to provide assistance. The U.S. Embassy remains present in Yangon, but reaching American citizens in distress outside the city can be extremely difficult because of checkpoints, fighting, and movement restrictions. In my personal view, Myanmar is one of the most heartbreaking countries on this list for people who love to travel. Just look at the temples of Bagan at sunrise, and you will understand why this country once appeared on so many travelers' dream lists. But a beautiful photograph online may have been taken many years ago under completely different circumstances. That is something travelers can easily forget. The scenery may look exactly the same, but the political situation, security checkpoints, and level of safety surrounding it may have changed completely. Myanmar does not ban all Americans from visiting. However, under current conditions, choosing to travel there means accepting risks that even professional organizations struggle to control. Before we explore the next country, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to J30 World Discovery. Number 3. Libya. Libya is located in North Africa, bordered by the Mediterranean Sea, while most of its territory is covered by the Sahara Desert. The country was once a crossroads for numerous civilizations, including the Berbers, Phoenicians, Greeks, Romans, and several Islamic empires. Libya is also home to Leptis Magna, one of the most impressively preserved ancient Roman cities in the world. Based on history and archaeology alone, Libya deserves to be a major travel destination. But since the uprising and collapse of Muammar Gaddafi's government in 2011, the country has endured years of political division and armed conflict. Multiple governments, factions, militias, and local forces continue to compete for power. Even when some regions appear calm for a period of time, the situation can change very quickly. The U.S. State Department currently places Libya at level 4, do not travel because of crime, terrorism, unexploded landmines, civil unrest, kidnapping, and armed conflict. Kidnapping is one of the most serious concerns. Foreign nationals may be targeted by criminal groups, militias, or extremist organizations for ransom, political leverage, or prisoner exchanges. In a country where territorial control is divided among different groups, it can be difficult to determine who truly controls a particular area. A checkpoint you pass through today may be controlled by an entirely different force tomorrow. Armed crime is also a major threat, especially along roads between cities and in remote desert regions. Areas surrounding Tripoli, Benghazi, and southern Libya have experienced clashes between rival factions. In addition, landmines and unexploded weapons left behind by the conflict may be found inside abandoned buildings, residential neighborhoods, or along roadsides. The United States does not maintain normal embassy operations in Libya. Therefore, if an American citizen is arrested, goes missing, or becomes trapped in a conflict, the possibility of receiving direct assistance is extremely limited. Some diplomats, journalists, and humanitarian workers may still travel to Libya. However, they usually move with security teams, armored vehicles, experienced local drivers, and carefully prepared evacuation plans. That is clearly not the environment of an ordinary vacation. In my opinion, Libya is a perfect example of a place where a glorious past and an unstable present exist side by side. You could stand in front of a Roman city that has survived for nearly 2,000 years, while an area controlled by armed forces is only a few hours away. That contrast is fascinating from a storytelling perspective, but extremely dangerous in real life. For Americans, Libya is not a place to test your luck simply because you want a different kind of experience. In an environment where the law, political power, and security conditions change from one region to another, a single wrong decision could place you in a situation with no easy way out. Number 2. Somalia. Somalia is located in the Horn of Africa and has the longest coastline on mainland Africa. The country occupies a strategic position beside major shipping routes and represents a cultural blend of African, Arab, and Islamic influences. But for decades, Somalia has struggled with civil war, poverty, clan-based conflict, terrorism, and a government that has been unable to maintain full control over its territory. The U.S. State Department currently places Somalia at level 4, do not travel. The listed risks include crime, kidnapping, terrorism, civil unrest, inadequate healthcare, landmines, and piracy. The most prominent threat is Al-Shabaab, an extremist organization affiliated with Al-Qaeda. The group has carried out numerous bombings, armed attacks, and assassinations in Somalia and neighboring countries. Its common targets include government facilities, hotels, restaurants, airports, and locations frequently visited by foreigners. This means that places considered relatively safer for travelers may actually become more attractive targets for terrorist organizations. The capital, Mogadishu, contains heavily protected areas, but even there, the risk of attack cannot be eliminated. International workers often live and operate inside fortified compounds with security guards and specialized transportation procedures. They do not simply walk outside, call a taxi, and explore the city as they would in a normal travel destination. Kidnapping is another major threat. Foreigners may be targeted for ransom or propaganda purposes. Once someone is taken into an area controlled by an armed group, the possibility of rescue becomes extremely low. Beyond the land, Somalia's coastline was once notorious for piracy. The situation has improved significantly since its peak, but the danger at sea has not completely disappeared, especially for vessels operating close to shore without proper protection. Somalia's healthcare system is also extremely limited. An injury or illness that could be treated easily in the United States may become a serious emergency if the patient cannot access an adequate medical facility or be evacuated by air. The United States does not operate a fully functioning conventional embassy in Somalia that can provide the same level of consular services available in stable countries. Its ability to assist American citizens outside certain areas is extremely limited. Personally, I believe Somalia provides one of the clearest examples of the difference between saying a country is dangerous and claiming that everyone living there is dangerous. Somali people have an ancient culture, a strong tradition of trade, and a large global diaspora. But the kindness of local residents cannot protect travelers from terrorism, kidnapping, or armed groups outside their control. Americans are not completely prohibited from entering Somalia, but in reality, this is a place where even people with experience working in conflict zones must rely on professional security teams. For ordinary tourists, the level of risk is simply too high. Number 1. Iraq. Iraq often appears in the media through images of war, terrorism, and prolonged conflict. But behind those images is one of the most historically important regions in all of human civilization. Part of modern-day Iraq once belonged to ancient Mesopotamia, the land between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. This was where civilizations such as Sumer, Akkad, Babylon, and Assyria once flourished. Achievements including cuneiform writing, early cities, legal systems, and advances in mathematics emerged in this region thousands of years ago. Historically speaking, very few countries can compete with Iraq. But for American citizens, Iraq remains one of the most dangerous destinations in the world. The U.S. State Department places Iraq at level 4, do not travel, because of terrorism, kidnapping, armed conflict, civil unrest, and the limited ability of the U.S. government to provide emergency services. A March 2026 security warning also instructed non-essential U.S. government employees to leave Iraq because of security concerns. Although ISIS has lost most of the territory it once controlled, extremist cells remain active in certain areas. In addition, numerous armed militias and forces supported by different regional powers continue to operate across the country. An American citizen may be viewed as a symbol of Western influence even when that person is only a tourist with no political involvement. The threats of kidnapping, rocket attacks, drone strikes, and sudden violence remain. Even Baghdad, where some districts are heavily protected, is not completely free from danger. Protests can erupt quickly. Roads, airports, and border crossings may close without warning. An area that appears peaceful in the morning could become dangerous within only a few hours if tensions between armed groups escalate. The U.S. Embassy in Baghdad remains open, but it operates under extremely strict security conditions. The existence of an embassy does not mean the U.S. government can quickly rescue an American citizen from any location in Iraq. U.S. government employees also face movement restrictions and cannot freely access every part of the country. Iraq continues to receive some diplomats, humanitarian workers, journalists, and foreign specialists. Some religious pilgrims also visit holy cities such as Najaf and Karbala. However, most of these journeys are carefully planned, supported by local organizations, and protected by security measures far beyond those used for ordinary tourism. From my perspective, Iraq may be the country that most clearly shows us the true cost of war. A land that once helped create human civilization has become a place that many people are now afraid to visit. That does not mean Iraq has no future as a travel destination. If stability continues to improve, the ruins of Babylon, the ancient citadel of Erbil, religious shrines, and the Mesopotamian marshes could attract millions of visitors. But at the present time, Iraq's extraordinary history cannot erase the risks of terrorism, kidnapping, and armed conflict. For American citizens, Iraq remains a destination where safety should come before curiosity. Those were the final 5 countries on our list of destinations where Americans face restrictions or serious government warnings against traveling. You can go does not mean you will be safe. And a travel advisory does not mean that every person living in that country is dangerous. Behind every conflict are millions of ordinary people who continue to live, work, and hope that their country will one day have a more peaceful and stable future. In my opinion, that may be the most important thing to remember after watching this list. Borders may be shaped by politics, but ordinary people are usually the ones forced to live with the consequences. If you had to choose one country from either part of this series to visit after it became safe, which one would you choose? Leave your answer in the comments, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to J30 World Discovery. Thank you for joining us through both parts of this journey. See you in the next video.